Alright guys, picture this. You're out on a fishing vessel floating around in the Bay of Bengal, minding your own business, catching a few yellowfin tuna, when all of a sudden the still calm ocean begins violently swirling. On the beaches that border the bay, the ocean tide rapidly begins receding inward, and before you know it, you out on your little fishing boat are hit by surging walls of water, and out there in the murky blue, a leviathan of a serpent emerges. Well, if you've seen our video on the life and styles of the terrifying SCP-3000, you'll know that this is a very, very bad thing. But what if the sleeping serpent that can wrap around the allegorical world actually awoke from its oceanic slumber? Let's find out. Hello internet, what's going on? And once again, welcome back to the most inquisitive channel on YouTube, Life's Biggest Questions. As per usual, I'll be your disembodied floating voice, Jack Finch, as today we curiously ask the question, what if SCP-3000 escaped? Roll the clip. For the curious amongst you, that clip was from 2013's Percy Jackson Sea of Monsters, which is far from being the greatest film of all time, but it's definitely a visual depiction of an ocean in complete and utter turmoil, so there you have it. Now, for those of you that haven't seen our video outlining the full description of SCP-3000, right now may be high time to check it out. But for those of you that haven't, we'll take a quick look at its basic mechanics to give a better understanding of how colossally catastrophic this hypothetical event would be. Essentially fitting within the canon of the SCP Foundation, somewhere in the depths of the Bay of Bengal is a slumbering giant sea serpent that may or may not be the legendary Anatashisha of Hindu mythology. As the record states, SCP-3000 is a massive aquatic serpentine entity that vastly resembles a giant moray eel, Gymnothorax uvinicus. Although the full length of SCP-3000 is widely considered impossible to determine, it is hypothesized to be anywhere between 600 and 900 kilometers in length. The head of the creature is roughly 2.5 meters in diameter, and the largest sections of its serpentine body are believed to be as wide as 10 meters. Already from a physical perspective, it's safe to assume that SCP-3000 is a pretty hefty boy. Or girl, its gender is yet to be determined, on the basis that anyone who gets close enough descends into existential madness of Lovecraftian proportions. Interestingly enough though, SCP-3000 is a Thaumiel class anomalous object. In Foundation speak, Thaumiel essentially means it's really useful, and the Foundation is willing to go to great lengths to maintain the entity's existence. The thing that makes SCP-3000 so critical to the SCP Foundation is that it secretes a viscous, dark grey substance through its skin as it consumes its prey, referred to as Y909. That strange eel jelly forms the basis of amnestics, which in layman's terms is the chemical formula that the Foundation uses to make sure people's memories are efficiently wiped. You know that little silver thing in Men in Black? Yeah, it's the gross version of that. This particular function of SCP-3000 complicates things, to say the least, but we'll get onto that later. If a creature of such mammoth physical properties was ever to emerge from the Bay of Bengal, from a geographical perspective, the environmental consequences would be immediately devastating. The Bay of Bengal is 2,090 kilometers long and 1,610 kilometers wide, and comprises a surface area of 2.1 million square kilometers, and historically, if we take a look at the natural geological disasters of the region, we may get a better idea of actually how devastating this would be. In 2004, the Indian Ocean earthquake and tsunami hit just off the western coast of northern Sumatra, setting into motion a geological catastrophe that tragically took the lives of over 200,000 people. The earthquake that caused the event hit with a magnitude of 9.0 due to a rupture between the Indian and Burmese tectonic plates, which occurred over an estimated 1,600 kilometers at a speed of 10,000 kilometers per hour. Now, as we stated previously, SCP-3000 is estimated to be anywhere between 600 and 900 kilometers in length, perhaps larger, but it is nowhere near large enough to hit with the force and seismological power of an entire continental plate. But although an event in comparison to the Boxing Day tsunami is off the table, we're still talking waves the size of 2-story buildings hurtling on all sides of the Bay of Bengal, leading to ecological catastrophe and devastation of infrastructure. More importantly though, it leaves more time for the giant serpent to figure out its first plan of attack, or, well, its first feast. Immediately, the emergency response to SCP-3000 would be hindered, and the combined navies of India, Bangladesh, Thailand, Singapore, and Japan, as well as the US, China, and Australia, who all hold strategic importance over the bay, would frantically rush to assess the critical area. But here we get to a very important hurdle, and it's one that could potentially bring a hypothetical save-the-day train to a screeching halt. The Foundation's understanding of SCP-3000 goes to great lengths in explaining the dangers of physically looking at the anomalous entity, and potentially the visual emergence of the serpent would lead to a critically dangerous cognitohazard event. As is stated in 3000's record, any individual who directly observes the creature immediately experiences inexplicable head pain, paranoia, general fear and panic, and memory loss or alteration. More importantly, individuals afflicted by the cognitohazard experience a desire to fully submit themselves to SCP-3000 like bluebottle flies to a bright light. Those unfortunate individuals who survived the initial geological disaster, as well as any surviving naval vessels in the Bay of Bengal, would stare in anomalous wonder at the giant sea serpent, and the vast majority would be unwittingly compelled to cast themselves into the ocean in an effort to get closer to the creature, where they'd be eaten, and SCP-3000 would secrete more of the amnestic eel jelly, leading into an unstoppable cycle of frenzied feeding. Yeah, you can see exactly why it would be really bad, right? The truth of the matter is, though, as far as we know, current military technology has no means of defending itself from the mechanics of a cognitohazard. All the combined naval might of the countries involved would be primarily useless if those operating it were under SCP-3000's anomalous influence. I mean, think about it. How could you defeat something that turns your mind to jelly just by looking at it? Well, in actual fact, we may find that this is where the answer to our question lies. Because we don't have to look at it, do we? Yeah, exactly, guys. You know what I'm talking about. Drones. As of this year, the US Navy alone have been building an entire fleet's worth of unmanned naval vessels capable of remote operation and jam-packed with a multitude of offensive and defensive capabilities. In 2017, the US Navy announced their newest unmanned ship concept, the Sea Hunter, capable of sailing over 200 nautical miles ahead of the main fleet whilst equipped with Mk.41 vertical launch missiles. In this hypothetical scenario, the United States Navy could successfully launch an assault on SCP-3000 from a remote enough distance without running the risk of direct human involvement. And that's not even taking into account other naval forces in the region. The Chinese Navy has more naval drones than you can shake a stick at, and the vast majority of them may or may not be equipped with state-of-the-art railgun technology, which is terrifying enough even to the likes of a giant behemoth of a sea serpent. See, although it would be a devastating geological and environmental event, eventually the combined military and naval might of the planet could successfully work to eliminate the threat of SCP-3000 based on our understanding. Although there is one slight caveat to that. If this hypothetical situation played out to its final conclusion, the SCP Foundation would definitely have something to say about the primal source of that amnestic production. As we said previously, SCP-3000 is Thaumiel class, and the Foundation will go to great lengths in protecting their amnestic asset. If the Foundation's track record is anything to go by, the rest of the world may never know exactly what happened out in the Bay of Bengal. Well, there we have it, folks, the way that we see things playing out after asking this specific question. What if SCP-3000 escapes? What do you guys think? Why don't you let us know and speak your mind down in the comment section below. It's always good to know how to defend yourself from a giant serpent attack, isn't it? Before we depart from today's video, let's take a quick look at some of your more entertaining edifications from over the past few days. Nerdy Waffle says, Jack, put away the tinfoil. Me, extra tinfoil it is. Well, Nerdy Waffles, I see that the old reverse psychology trick is still holding up, right? Or is that too much tinfoil? Well, that's too much conspiracy for me. On that note, cheers for sticking around all the way until the end. If you're a fan of this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button as well as that subscribe bell, and we'll be seeing you in the next one. As per usual, I've been your disembodied floating voice, Jack Finch. You've been watching Life's Biggest Questions, and until next time, you take it easy.